All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining in for another pop-up chat. This time I'm feeling really lucky to be joined by my Twitter friend, Hunter Horenstein. How are you doing, Hunter?
I'm doing very well. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So the way these work, I've like you have, I've encountered so many people this year on Twitter, so many people that I want to get to know better. And, usually in our DMs, I'm like, hey, we should meet on Zoom or vice versa. And I started having Zoom conversations with people privately, and they would just share, nuggets of wisdom, things that
Mhm.
were really important that I figured I bet there's other people who would benefit from hearing this. So I figured, why just save those great conversations for
Why
myself?
not? Yeah.
Yeah, let's just broadcast them. Let's do the damn thing. So, yeah, thanks again for being here. It looks like you're at the office. I
I
see.
am. I am very lucky to be able to come on in and work somewhere other than my home. We did that for a little bit during the summer, but we all
Mhm.
each have our own office, so it's easy to social distance, and I get to go somewhere
Yeah,
other than just from the couch or the bed to my living room table. I get to come actually come
gosh.
here. So
I know. I'm getting really stir crazy.
I don't know
So,
how people are doing it. It would drive me nuts.
man. Well, especially doing what you do, I want to hear more about it. So, you're the director of fan engagement. Is it the Myrtle Beach
It
Pelicans? Is that
is, yeah,
okay?
out in
How
South
cool.
Carolina.
South Carolina. I haven't been to South Carolina since I was super little. But Charleston is my husband's favorite city, so I've
Okay, just down the road.
got to get there at some point. So I love that title, first of all. Um, you know me, I'm like a fangirl of not so much of sports, but of music, and I just think it's so innovative. Hey Kelsey, hey Christine, hey Dakota. I just think it's so innovative to have a title that's director of fan engagement. So what does that really entail?
The way I explain it, it's pretty oversimplified. It's just the fun stuff. um, when I was interviewing my general manager, he explained it to me and basically said like, there's no like it was we threw around like director of promotions, director of this, director of that, but like all encompassing really is fan engagement, and like that's the entertainment here at the
Mhm.
ballpark, in game, promotional wise, theme nights, the atmosphere that we have, the customer service aspect of that, and then also on social as well. So I've got
Yeah.
my foot in kind of both pools. Basically our experience here at the ballpark, and then our experience online and that community online, and
Yeah.
it's quite literally engaging the fans. And so
Mhm.
it all kind of goes under that one umbrella, and at the heart of what we do at the minor league level, that's what it's about. It's about engaging your community. It's about engaging the fans. It's about, building those kind of relationships and having fun, entertaining. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what we do. It's, the baseball will happen, takes care of itself, but we want
Yeah.
to put on a party around the baseball game. So that is what I'm tasked with, I guess.
I love that so much. So you were kind of part of even naming that position. It seems like it was something new.
He told me that's what he wanted to call it, and I said that sounds good. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
happy to be
yeah.
here.
Have you noticed yeah, yeah, I know. Have you noticed a trend where maybe that position is something that you're seeing more teams apply or something to that effect? Is there something Are there similar titles, or do you always see that type of position divided as like you're just engagement on social, and this person is that face to face person that deals with activities in the park? How do other teams do it? Hi
I
Jen.
I think one of the big things like with minor league baseball, it's like especially minor league baseball, it's no matter what your title is, you help with everything. So we're not a big league club where we have a ton of resources and a ton of manpower,
Hmm.
and we're not really afforded the ability to silo ourselves and say all you do is tweet. That is you are social department.
Yeah.
I've done everything from I've jumped in the mascot suit, I've helped out in the pro shop, I've pulled tarp on the field. You kind of
Really
do
got your
you
hands
do
dirty.
everything. Yeah, you do everything, and that's kind of just industry wide. And part of the reason why I love it so much is because everyone, you all have to pull an equal bit of weight, and you all have to get ready to do stuff that's outside of your job titles. So, like, if you ask anybody, like, oh, you're a promotions director, they're still doing a ton of other things as well. And I think if you ask anybody, they take a lot of pride in that. I certainly do. The fact that we are everybody, it's that all for one, one for all sort of mentality. Very, very proud of that. And it's just a bunch of people that try to do whatever they can to help the organization.
I think that's so refreshing to hear because I wish more organizations realize just how social transcends and should transcend the platforms themselves. The relationship is so beyond that. And it reminds me of the whole ocean spray thing this year with that TikTok that went viral where we got all over ocean spray for not tweeting them back. And they were like, wait a minute, it's so much bigger than that. We want to create an experience. So yeah. So what are some other things that you do? I guess particularly on social, what are some ways this year that you've felt like you've engaged the fans, or just what are some tips and strategies that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, like when everything kind of went down, we lost. We didn't play a season this year, so we didn't have a season, and so everything moved over to digital. And you saw that across the board in sports. A bunch of teams are doing that. But for us, our biggest goal, I guess, was to continue the conversation, continue the engaging with our audience. My general manager has this great analogy. He basically said, if our house is locked up, if our house is locked, the doors, the front gates are locked, right? No, we're not opening up. Our porch light is still on, and the porch light is social media. And so, while I couldn't show off all these cool things that we had planned going into this year, we really went down to a grassroots kind of grassroots approach. And like everyone says it, social is social. So I really worked hard. Like we don't have all the bells and whistles of all these fancy graphics and videos and stuff. And, and that's okay. I'm just so proud of how we refined our voice, talked to people, had actual conversations, and really humanized our brand. And I think this year gave us an opportunity to kind of pull down that veil a little bit. We are so we try to make our brand so human online and let people know that, we're not going to be perfect all the time. Yes, there's going to be typos. What's Jen over at John Deere? Jen's great saying, typos add personality. I absolutely love that. Like that's in our Twitter bio. Like that's in our brand's Twitter bio. So we've really leaned into that and just tried to keep conversations going and let people know, hey, we're coming back at some point. But in the meantime, we'll see you on the Twitter timeline.
Exactly. Wherever you can live in the meantime. I don't know if I would say this now that we're at the end of 2020, but I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, I was saying that in previous economic crises, the marketing team was the first to go. Like they were the first to be laid off. And at least at the beginning of the pandemic, I've seen now at the end, unfortunately, more marketing professionals being laid off. But at the beginning, I was saying now it's your social teams that are saving these brands and are that lifeline and the only way right now that you can communicate with your audience because they're not seeing you in person. They were kind of keeping the pulse of these brands. So it sounds like you guys have done that and you understand just how much that needs to be prioritized. I think it's really great when a brand understands that because I still think some have that traditional way of thinking like, oh, let's just let the marketing team go. We don't have anything to promote right now. But there are conversations if you really dig for them.
Yeah. And, all the credit goes to our leadership. I think like I've said it before, I've tweeted about it where I firmly believe that the relationship that leadership and upper management has with social and vice versa is so important, right? Like for them to buy in and for them to know how important this is, really allows us to do what we do. And, certainly anybody can, I guess you could say anybody could do it, right? If you need to cut positions and kind of trim down your staff and say, all right, you've done some marketing, so you're just going to take over now and add it to your plate. If you have to do that, I guess that's what you have to do, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be as good or to the full potential that it could be, I guess. So, and unfortunately I've seen a lot of my colleagues and a lot of friends in this industry lose their jobs. And it stinks. It stinks. But, and I understand that these are tough times. But I feel, and I try to keep that in perspective, that I feel very fortunate that the belief in social and the belief in that online voice is so strong. so
Yeah.
strong here.
So you guys haven't resumed playing at all, have you?
No. This would typically be our off season anyway.
Mhm.
And in normal seasons, we would start up in April.
Okay.
And we're hopeful that we start up sometime in the summer. And
Mhm.
when we do, who knows what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
But man, I'm so excited. I want us to get going so badly. It's been a long,
Yeah.
it's been a long
I
year.
bet, I bet. So, this is my friend Christine popping up here. She is a huge baseball fan. I'd like to talk more about anything that you feel like makes minor league baseball different or even more special. I imagine it has more of like that close knit community feel than
Yeah,
it's kind of like your neighborhood baseball team, you know?
exactly.
So how have you, I guess, yeah, what is your perspective on that and the comparison between the major league and minor league and maybe how you've tried to tap into what makes minor league special and different?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. It's kind of your small knit community team.
Mhm.
In 2012, that was my first year, and I worked for a really tiny club in Northern California. And my
Mhm.
GM at the time, um, he asked me, he said, "What business are you in?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm in the baseball business." And I was like, I don't know, 20, so
Uh-huh.
completely new, green. I'm just happy to be here, you know. And he said, "No, you're not. You're in everything but that. You're in community relations. You're in customer service. You're in entertainment. You're in promotions. You're in sales. Like you're literally in every other business except baseball.
Wow.
The
Mhm.
baseball takes care of itself,
Mhm.
and we have to put on an event." And I had a former a former boss. Her name's Jen Brunson, and she said our job is to create an event 70 times a year and
Uh-huh.
70 home games. So an event 70 times a year,
Wow.
and that's kind of the root of it, right? Like
Mhm.
we're here to have fun. We're here to provide the saying affordable family fun, but that's
Mhm.
true. We're here to be in the community, to contribute to the community. Our staff is on different boards within the community. Our associate general manager teaches or coaches volleyball at the local high school.
Yeah.
We have fundraisers and we have promotions that are wacky and fun, but also make an impact to groups of people. And that's what it's about. It's about connecting with the community, connecting with fans, and um, not only locally but as far reaches as you can go, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the social side pops in. It's so easy to reach so many people. But yeah, when you come here, it's not just a baseball game. We want to have fun, and I think that every
Yeah.
single minor league club stands for that, and that's what it is. It's the Mike Shapiro, my first general manager, and I'm going to say his name because I want him to get credit for this. He
Yeah.
said, the goal every time, this was back in 2012, he said, the goal every time is I want a family to walk out of the ballpark and say, we had a great time. We can't wait to come back. We're going to bring our friends.
Mhm.
Oh, by the way, who won the game? If you can do
Yeah.
that, you've nailed it from our perspective, right? That's what we
Mhm.
are. We're a small little business. We're a community servant, and we just want to provide a place that can be entertaining, fun, safe,
Yeah.
inclusive, and that's what minor league baseball stands for. It's not big bright lights. It's not superstar athletes. It's
Right.
it's beers and hot dogs, and
Yeah.
there's
The
an
good stuff.
innocence to that. Yeah, it's the good
That's what I'm there for.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me, I mean, admittedly, I'm I haven't been to a baseball game in quite a few years, but I'm in South Florida, so we have the Marlins down the street and at the new, well, I guess it's not new anymore, but the Marlins stadium, uh at the ground level, they have the Clevelander Hotel, and there's a swimming pool, and you could get, all kinds of like tropical drinks and stuff. And I remember it was actually cheaper to like buy a ticket just to be admitted into the Clevelander, and it's at ground level and it's looking out onto the field like from so you're in the pool having a drink and you can see the field. I'm like, this is way better than like being confined to just a seat
Yeah.
because there was like a DJ down there and it was only like $30 compared to how much it was to actually be in the
Yeah.
game at a high, and it was all about the experience. Um,
100%. And I think more teams are kind of shifting to that at the big league level. Obviously, their goal is to win World Series, right? Like that's
mhm.
what you want to do at the biggest level. That's just not our goal down here. Our goal is just have fun, have a good
Yeah.
time, and have fun.
Yeah, and I think there's gonna be an even bigger appetite for that once this pandemic ends. People just wanna get out
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
have
Can't wait. Cannot wait.
experiences, so let's see. Everyone's talking about hot dogs and beer. Love it.
He's right. Yeah, he's right. It hits different. It hits different. I was just having that conversation with one of my coworkers. Like typically we don't get to go to games because we're working them, but like,
Mhm.
man, we were talking about how we just miss a ballpark hot dog and just a
Right.
beer and just like that Sunday afternoon game. Like you
Mhm.
can't beat
Yeah.
it.
My husband's from Boston, so he's obviously a Red Sox
Ah, okay.
fan. And one year for Thanksgiving, we went up to see my in-laws, but my parents came with us, and my dad had never been to Fenway. And it's funny because it's even funnier now because my dad's name is Frank. So he had to go and get a Fenway Frank. It was like on his bucket list. It's like the best hot dog you've ever had. So it really makes a difference. And it reminds me actually of this marketing idea I thought was really smart when the Marlins went through their whole rebrand. Does Derek Jeter doesn't Derek Jeter
Mhm.
like own the okay.
Yeah, he's still on.
He like I don't know, he was like spearheading a whole relaunch of everything. And they redid the menu and it was called the 305 menu. Obviously 305 is our area code and it was
Yeah,
like everything is either $3 or $5 and it was
that's
just like
awesome.
bites. And I'm like that is so that is so brilliant. You can get like $3 nachos or a $5 hot dog whatever it might have been. I just thought it was a fun way to brand everything.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Creating that community. It's again, just
mhm.
it's about the community.
Yeah, yeah. Love it, love it. So, let's see what else is going on in the chat. Everyone wants a hot dog now. But I mean, it brings up also like how food I don't know if we're gonna get off topic here, but food like makes or breaks an experience too. Like it's
Oh
those
yeah.
little touches.
Oh yeah.
Um, and do you guys do merchandise and stuff too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're doing it all. You know, we've got
Mhm.
I think one of the coolest parts one of the coolest parts of minor league baseball is that merchandise aspect of it.
Yeah.
And the food. Like you can look at any team and they've got their own twist on what they're selling at the ballpark. I mean, uh,
Mhm.
I worked for a team in Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania, and the year after I left to come down here, they did a cotton candy hot dog that ended up
Whoa.
it got them on Jimmy Fallon. Like it was a hot dog wrapped in can uh, cotton candy and it had
Yeah.
nerds on top of it. And I mean,
Oh
it
my
got
god.
them on Jimmy Fallon, but that's just like perfect minor league baseball. And then like this year when the season got uh, was postponed, uh, you saw all these clubs coming out with their own T-shirts, and
Yeah.
there was like this wave of implied profanity. We should call it like the Durham Bulls had a shirt that said this is some bullshit
Uh,
2020. We had
mhm.
unfucking believable. Like, and it just goes to show like there's so much fun to be had, and it permeates in every single aspect
Mhm.
to get people talking, to get people to hopefully buy your stuff and help support your team, and
Yeah.
it's just a ton of fun. It's just a ton of
Yeah. Definitely creates that culture, and with the cotton candy hot dog thing, I mean, I just think I don't know, people always talk about, like, are there stupid ideas? In fact, I think the stupid ideas, the ideas that people look at you like, "No, you're crazy, that's
fun.
never gonna
Hmm.
work," those are the best ideas because 'cause they're the most interesting, they're the most remarkable, they have that, viral component, I guess you could say, where, they'll get featured, on a talk show or whatever. Similarly, I saw this article, it was, like, in national news, this woman who owns an Etsy shop, she decided to make an ornament that was a dumpster fire. It was like a dumpster and it had like a little flame coming out of it. And I'm like, that is her way of, that might have seemed like a stupid idea, like, haha, what if I made a dumpster fire? But it took off. And it's just like those stupid ideas, I really think have a lot of power. Yeah.
That's what we thrive off of. We thrive off of stupid ideas in minor league
Yeah.
baseball. Like the joke is like every good idea that's like has started from a brainstorming session or started after a few drinks late at night,
Yeah.
where you either email yourself or you text your boss or somebody and say, hey, this might be a stupid idea, but and then it turns into a promo night or whatever. So we
Yeah.
thrive off of stupid ideas.
It's gold. I always like to make the joke, like, do your marketing as if well, this doesn't always work, but as if every day is April Fool's. Like you're punking people
Okay, I
because
love
the
that.
idea is
I
so
love
ridiculous and out there, but it actually is a conversation starter. Oh
that.
gosh, we've got some. Okay, maybe that's a stupid idea. I don't know, but
I know this.
just
I know
kidding.
him. This is Greg, who was a season ticket holder in
Uh-huh.
San Rafael. That was the very first team that I worked for, San Rafael Pacifics. Greg was a season ticket holder, huge super fan.
Yeah.
Him and his daughters came to him and his wife, his daughters came to every single game. And I remember this toilet plunger giveaway. We gave away toilet plungers, and people ended up holding their beers in them. It fit. It was perfect fit for the beers that we sold. And so all you saw were people walking around with these toilet plungers with people holding their beers and they're drinking out of them. I do remember that. What's up, Greg? Good to see you, brother.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Greg. Yeah, we got a super fan. Go Pelican. That is awesome. I love that so much. So, okay, we've touched on like there's no agenda for these chats. We're just kind of riffing here. So, I'd like to know more on like a personal level. What do you do to kind of stay sharp, stay engaged both in your industry or just in social in general? What are some things you do to just keep up with what's going on?
Yeah, I think the biggest silver lining that you can get is that now I've had so much more time to do that stuff. And
Mhm.
I tweeted about it just recently where I've gotten out of my baseball bubble this year more than ever before.
Yeah.
And I've met people like you. I've met people like Jen Krim and you
Yeah.
know and people and Mindy who you had on
Yeah.
last week. Like I've met people that I would never have met anyway.
Uh-huh.
And I feel so lucky to have done that because I think the philosophies behind like social or creating, building communities or engaging people, those philosophies permeate all around in every
Mhm.
industry. You just have to choose how to specifically apply it. So it's been such a great perspective and eye opener to get out of my baseball bubble and to learn from other marketers and social media. And not again, not everything is going to be applicable, but like
Mhm.
at least I'm meeting a ton of people and I've made so many more connections and so many more friends. And just trying to use this time to just to really jump in and get
Mhm.
better. I feel like I've always had one foot in, what is it, marketing Twitter. I've had like maybe one toe in it for a while.
Mhm.
And then the other foot's in baseball Twitter. And so like my
Uh-huh.
worlds are colliding now and it's really cool and just a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
just trying to learn and get better and, you know, uh, find different perspectives and get better outside of your industry.
I think that's where you have the most potential to have ideas because it's easy to feel stuck if all you do is focus on baseball or your specific industry. I
Mhm.
think it's only when you step outside of that that you're able to get inspiration and ideas from other things. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. Well, it reminds me, right before our call, I saw I think a few people on who are on this listening right now were engaging with this tweet actually. I don't know if you saw the Arizona Diamondbacks did a tweet about Taylor Swift today that's taking off.
It seems like every team has jumped on Taylor Swift, and rightfully so. That she's dominating the news cycle. Like we even jumped in on it on a little bit, but yeah, I think it's like Taylor Swift and like probably maybe the Bachelorette, the Bachelor and stuff. Like that those are stuff that teams are going to jump in because they go where the conversation goes.
Yeah.
The tricky part is making sure that it's kind of stays within your brand or you can relate to it so it doesn't seem forced.
Mhm.
But I love that teams are starting to, and they have been, but more and more, again, pulling down that
Mhm.
veil. We're not robots, we're humans.
Right, right. Here, I'm gonna read you the tweet actually. What did it say? They said, "We know this is a baseball account, but it needs to be said. We don't deserve Taylor Swift."
I just pulled it up. See, that's awesome. And it's
And
like
now I'm
that
following them.
self-awareness, exactly. And that self-awareness is like we know that we're not in Taylor Swift Twitter. We know we're a professional baseball team, but we know that all of you guys like it, and so do we. Like
Mhm.
that just goes to show that you can definitely merge the two. And I think that is see, that's a perfect tweet. I love that. That's
Yeah, and I
awesome.
think that's
And they got
another
a follow out of you, so like they're
yeah,
growing.
like, immediately follow. Um, and I think that's also an important, perspective with sports and, a day at a ball game is the music too, so the fact that they're kind of leveraging that a
Absolutely.
little bit. Joe, I love this. He said, I met everyone here because I joined a Twitter chat about pop culture despite knowing almost nothing about pop culture. Sure you do, Joe. I know Groot he counts as pop culture, and I know that's your fave. Are you down to take a few questions? Let's see.
Absolutely.
Green Caleb wants to know, how do you work around having a smaller ad budget being a minor league baseball team?
That is a awesome question that I wish I had the answer to. No, so this year especially was tough. Our ad budget is essentially zero, and so all of our social is organic. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people in marketing Twitter that are like, organic social and ad social, two different things, and they are. But that goes back to us going to a grassroots and trying to connect on a human level with people, and not just throwing ads in faces, ads, but really connecting and being like, listen, this is the reality situation. You know, we're bummed just like you. We're here for you. And then knowing that if you provide that, they're going to back you up, right? If you provide a community for your followers, and they're going to support you. And we've really tried to do that. And again, it just goes back to being human. I think the other thing is, when we do have an ad budget, we pick and choose where we're going to go, right? And we rely heavily on data, and our associate GM, Kristen Call, does a fantastic job with their advertising budget. And really, she's been here, I think, like 6 years now, and really just knows this place inside and out. We're a tourist destination, so it's going to be a little bit different than some other teams. And, and it's just a matter of, finding those numbers and, exploiting them into our advantage. But for right now, with no ad budget and everything's organic, it just comes down to being human, connecting on a personal level. I have the ability to connect one-to-one on a lot of accounts because it is smaller and a little bit more tangible. So that's always helpful. But really just, not, just being honest and transparent as much as we can, and connect on a human level. I keep saying that, but that's the goal. And that's what we're trying to do so much, because we can't promote a tweet right now. So we really rely on the community that we've built to back us up.
Yeah. And to piggyback off that, I always think of this this quote from one of my favorite authors. Her name is Sally Hogshead, and she talks about, if you're the biggest brand, organization, whatever, in your category, if you're the biggest or you're considered the best, she says you can afford to be boring, because you can pay to just hammer a message and just pound it into people's brains. You don't have to be remarkable or interesting, really, because you could just pay your way to get in front of people. But if you don't have that big budget, then it's just a creative challenge. You have to do something that shakes things up. We always say zig when everyone else zags. You have to do something else to get noticed. You don't necessarily need a huge budget. You just need a great idea, like a cotton candy hot dog.
I love that saying. Yeah, I love that saying. If we had unlimited resources, absolutely, we could be boring. But the fact is, we don't. And we have to, kind of go through the weeds a little bit and do it from a grassroots level. And that takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes consistency, and it takes being a human. And that's what it is. I love that saying. I'm going to use that from now on.
Yeah, please do. Like I said, her name is Sally Hogshead. I'll send you some clips. She's just brilliant. One of my favorite people that I've ever learned from. Anyone else have questions? Feel free to chime them in. I usually do these as a half an hour, so we'll wrap it up shortly. But Jake is saying fan engagement and community building is honestly the perfect environment for an organic first approach. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, what I do is that grassroots marketing, right? I have a little bit of experience in the paid side, but I'm in my regular normal season, I'm out at schools, I'm out talking to different students or Rotary clubs or whatever. I've done all that stuff, and that's, that is organic, and it's grassroots. And so we're just trying to apply that to online right now. And I love that community building. That's what we're trying to do.
I love that. Do you travel with the team?
I don't. Sometimes there's been times when I've gone and visited other clubs when we're on the road, and that's mostly to kind of learn from what other teams are doing and seeing what their operations like. I think I had a plan this year actually to go visit, I think, like 3 or 4 other teams while our team was on the road. But usually I get to stay back, and we got to get ready for the next homestand or the next game or the next
Yeah.
event. So there's always work to be done. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm not going on the road with the team.
Yeah, gotcha. And Britt says just seeing the face behind the marketing connect like this makes me want to visit. And that's the magic of, like you're saying, of humanization. And I compare it to like Steakum and Velveeta, who are like 2 huge social accounts that people are loving right now. I'm like, I feel like I'm becoming friends with a box of cheese. Like, what is going on? But that is what happens when you are just human and you give your brand a personality. Dakota was saying, what was the hardest pivot for you guys over 2020?
Hardest pivot, I would say a lot of the sponsorship dollars that were accounted for. I'll give one example. We had we were going to do a mental health awareness night here at the ballpark. And one of our corporate managers here, his name's Todd Chapman. He secured this night where we were going to do customizable jerseys, or not customized, but jerseys, specialty jerseys that players were going to wear. We're going to do a giant fundraiser night, and all of this was paid for and stuff. Obviously, we didn't play games, so one of the challenges was, okay, how do we pivot? Do we just roll those ad dollars over to next year, and then that kind of takes away from next year's income, or can we somehow salvage and execute this? And so we pivoted to online, where we did personalized jerseys for the Wallpaper Wednesdays, which a lot of teams do. And it was really cool. And we provided, resources and worked with NAMI, which is the mental health organization that we did. And so I think one of the hardest parts was realizing that, we weren't going to have the ad dollars. We weren't going to have games. And that's the biggest source of our revenue. So we had to really scratch and claw, and we're continuing to scratch and claw to either salvage those dollars or create more opportunities to have to get those dollars.
Right.
And when you can't do anything at the ballpark, that's pretty tough. So we got to get creative. But yeah, I would say that just not having games is probably the hardest pivot, professionally and personally. Like, that's my identity. That's our identity is ball games. And when that's gone, it's tough.
Yeah. Well, you've done an awesome job. We're still talking about it. You definitely got my attention.
I appreciate it.
Dakota saying, I definitely face a similar challenge. All of our event dollars for this summer needed to be repurposed. Challenge trying to figure out how to spend them best to benefit us and our sponsorship partners. Certainly a challenge.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, keep the questions coming. I'd like to maybe, if there are no other questions, but please keep chiming in, people. If there are no other questions, but I would like to see if you had any advice that you would give. I teach online courses at the University of Florida, and I have a lot of students who really just love sports. I have so many projects where they focus on teams, where they rave to me about the teams that they love. And I feel like sports, when it comes to marketing or social, has kind of seemed unattainable for some of them. So what would you say to either an entry-level person, a student, just someone that really just has a passion for sports but feels like that's never going to be in the cards for them from a marketing standpoint?
I mean, I would say first off is to network. I mean, that's not to oversimplify it, but that's a huge part of it is, start utilizing Twitter and utilizing LinkedIn. And admittedly, I'm not a huge LinkedIn guy. I'm mostly Twitter, but that's kind of what fits my niche. Reach out, look up, like if somebody wants to do what I do or somebody else does, look up that position, that position for your favorite team, find out who's in the role that you want to do, and reach out to them and just say, hey, can I talk to you? And start making those connections and do it all over the place and just build relationships. And, I think this industry is so is special in a way because it's like, I remember being 20 years old. I remember being 19 years old, 18 years old, and trying to reach out to folks. And I remember the people that responded and helped me out, or just gave me bits of information or advice, or read a press release for me, or looked at a piece of content that I made. And I think people now in positions of that power want to reciprocate it. Like
Mm.
I think being able to give back, and I just spoke to a young man just a couple days ago who just cold DM'd me, and I
Mhm.
couldn't. I was like, absolutely, let's talk today. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and
I love
so I
that.
would say do that. And then the other
Mhm,
thing is just like, whatever your passion is, like if it is social, dive into it.
mhm.
Immerse yourself in it. If you
Yeah.
love this aspect of the job, like hunt it, find whatever it is that you can, and learn about it. Talk to people. Do it on your own. Make your
Mhm.
own hype videos. Make your own social strategy.
Yeah.
Right now yeah, I know there's a lot going on in the world, but you got a lot of time too. There's a ton of time to kind of just make yourself
Yeah.
better. And
Yeah.
but I think it starts and ends with relationships. I mean, that's the only reason why I'm here now. I got one opportunity, and I tried to snowball that into as much as I could, and it's paying off. Uh,
Yeah.
and even then, I'm continuing to try to make myself better by getting different perspectives, meeting new people, and who knows where that all ends up. But
Mhm.
yeah, I would just say build relationships, reach out to people,
Yeah.
talk to them.
That's such great advice. Particularly the reciprocation part resonates with me because I feel like me and even my students, anytime you reach out to someone, you feel like you're being bothersome or you're annoying them.
Mm-hmm.
They will never give you the time of day, but I agree that I think we have bigger hearts than that, and yeah, we do wanna give back, we do wanna help. We remember being in their shoes, so I think anyone, no matter if it's sports or whatever industry, I think you'd be surprised at how gracious and, generous people are with their time, just with, you know, pointing you in the right direction for something. It's yeah, just show up in their DMs, just start building those relationships, and you'll find
Yeah,
that people are kinder than you think they are.
yeah, they're not scary, and like not
Yeah.
obviously, like I don't blow up the DMs and being like, hey, 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 but like just say hello, and just reach out, just have a
Yeah.
conversation. People aren't scary. It took me a while to realize that though too. So
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Well, you clearly are a stand-up guy, so I think if anyone here has questions, they can certainly DM you. Is that safe to say?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. My
Can you
my
hear me?
phone is attached to my hand, so yes, yeah, I can. My
Yeah.
phone is attached to my hand, so if you tweet me or message me, I promise you, I'm gonna see it.
You're the best. Awesome. Well, thank you, Hunter. Let's see. Yeah, Britt says being able to give back because someone did that for you is the best feeling. Yeah, we just want to pay
100%.
it forward. So, um, I don't log into Britt accounts or my phone. Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah, I only have one phone. I don't have two, so I gotta be careful with it.
Well, you're doing a great job. I can't thank you enough for literally popping on here with me today.
I
And
appreciate
thank you
it.
everyone for joining. And yeah, I appreciate it so much. And keep us posted. I will still be following along. And yeah, everyone is super thankful. So
Yeah,
thank you so
yeah,
much.
appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Awesome, of course. And yeah, thanks, Greg. Super fan.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Say hello to the kids
What a
for me,
guy.
man.
He needs some merch. He probably
Yeah,
has some,
might
but
might have to get reach out to him, get him some stuff.
he needs a foam finger for sure. So thanks so much. Bye, guys. Oh, thanks, Jake. Oh yeah, guys, Jake is gonna be on my next pop-up chat next what are we doing? Wednesday? Yeah, the 16th. So everyone mark your calendars. I forgot what time we said. But but yes, we will be chatting then. So thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye.